This is a portrait from almost 90 years ago, and it's filled with life. And the comfort with which this individual is posing for the picture, the natural gestures, and the way he addresses the camera suggests that he was a real participant with Van Der Zee in his own likeness.
And in a moment like the one we're in now, it is important that these photographs allow us to understand the presence of these people, the lives that they live, that make it possible to live the lives we do today.
James Van Der Zee is one of the most important American photographers. He is well known for his work beginning in the 1910s and continuing for 60 years in Harlem. And his body of work is stunningly large. It's some 20,000 photographic prints and 30,000 negatives. It is one of the largest photographic archives that survives anywhere in the world. And here we have an opportunity at the Met to work with the Studi Museum in Harlem to provide preservation, conservation, and scholarship, and to share it with artists, historians, and the general public worldwide. It's going to tell a new story of the history of photography, and it's created a landmark collaboration of cultural achievement.
James Van Der Zee was one of the preeminent photographers of our time. He was a documentarian, an artist, a musician, a cultural leader.
His pictures are among the most treasured works from the Harlem Renaissance, and also the story of 20th century life and a transformation of our culture.
James Van Der Zee was a Harlemite, and the way in which he pictured Harlem, his Harlem, was very much the way in which Harlemites understood themselves. They were creating the sense of their present, but also in so many ways projecting into our future.
People spent their lives celebrating their milestones in his studio. The quality of the pictures, though, was something special. Mm-hmm. He was giving them Condé Nast Vogue beauty and Vogue lighting, just the way he posed his sitters.
I also hold as dearly his role as a cultural historian. The photographs, the artistry were in the service of this incredible project. And that was the project of representation, because we know the world in which these Harlemites lived in and what they faced, what they had overcome, what perhaps was their journey to Harlem. But through these photographs and through Van Der Zee's vision, they were able to project into their full humanity. I mean, I think of these photographs often as if they were the family album of Harlem. Living in Harlem, I walk by many of the places that are in the photographs. I see what I know are the descendants of the people who are pictured in these photographs. And I live and work and serve in a community that was created by the people that Van Der Zee photographed.
By the 1960s, Van Der Zee was still practicing, but because of new technologies like the Polaroid and hand cameras, people weren't going to the studio. But something interesting happened. His work was featured in the Met's exhibition Harlem on My Mind, the 1969 show, which is well known to have created all sorts of complex issues of the Met's relationship to Black cultural practice. But what emerged from that exhibition was the rebirth and rediscovery of James Van Der Zee. By the early 1980s, he was back making portraits of people from Muhammad Ali and Lou Rawls all the way to Jean-Michel Basquiat. But he lost his studio at 272 Lenox Avenue, and there was then a diaspora of his photographic negatives and prints. In collaboration with Donna Van Der Zee, the artist's widow, we brought his archive back together into one place. Each of our institutions has had a long history with James Van Der Zee and his work. Each of us has housed part of the archive at different times.
Yes, and Donna Van Der Zee did important cultural work because she maintained a deep belief in how profoundly important the archive was in its totality. But it's also what's making it possible for us now to consider this next step of what can happen to bring all of this work out into the world.